us today, guys. This is our sixth, I believe, edition of our franchisee interview series, and I love this. This is like one of my favorite things I do here. This is just a great opportunity for all of our franchise candidates to get to hear from a franchisee specifically, and for me, it's a great opportunity for us to give a platform to our franchisees who really deserve it, and they really work hard. I think going through any kind of process like this, it's really important to speak to people and get a chance to, hear from them. The responsibility of a franchisor, in my opinion, is to really make sure that we provide services and we provide a platform for our franchisees to be successful. And getting a chance to speak to our franchisees and get a chance for them to discuss about how they've done, what their background was, and where they came from, and how they evaluated this. Just like a lot of the candidates on who are listening today, it's a really great opportunity. So today we have Ray Black, who, Ray, you've done this a couple years, 1 or 2 years, right?
About 10 right now.
About 10 right now. And Ray is a very strong franchisee in our system, one of the most successful franchisees in our system. And it's really great to get a chance to speak with Ray today. And today, Ray, I really want to just start off with, if you could, just start talking a little bit about you. What was your background prior to coming here? What did you do that made you move in this role?
Prior to HomeWell, I spent 21 years in the workers' comp industry as a medical service provider. So we did a variety of things. We provided prescription drugs, durable medical equipment, transportation, translation services. But one piece we did was home care. We brokered home care. So if we had an injured worker in Los Angeles, we'd find a home care agency in Los Angeles to take care of them. The problem with that business model and why I wanted to get out, it was fee schedule reimbursed. And what that means is you're dealing with insurance companies that set the reimbursement rate. So you're getting paid what your customer wants to pay you. And oftentimes, even after performing services, that rate would go down. So it just wasn't a very good business model. I wanted to stay in healthcare and find something that was private pay where I could set my own rates. And that's where I gravitated toward home care. So I started my journey looking, as you know, there's about over 60 franchisors in this business.
Yeah.
And I narrowed it down to about 15, then moved down to 3, HomeWell being one of the 3. And the reason I ultimately chose HomeWell was simply it had a territory that made sense to me. Okay. I purchased 4 territories, and I basically have all the Central Ohio area, including Columbus.
Can you dig a little bit deeper into your evaluation process? Like you started at 60, and I'm sure that you were very, thoughtful and strategic on the way you looked at everything. So what were some of the things that you said, okay, well, territory is one of the things that I need, but on top of that, what were some of the other pieces that you looked through in evaluation as you evaluate this process?
Well, I looked at that time, HomeWell was one of the smaller franchisors, and I felt like, I would have a voice and be able to help HomeWell grow as well as myself grow. And I liked the people at the organization, and that just made all the sense to me. It was just more of a family type situation. Felt good to me.
Now, when you started off with 4 territories, it seems like it would seem like a kind of a daunting task. How are you looking at the business model in terms of like your growth? One of the things I find interesting about this business model is that it's not 4x, right? So if you buy a stand of some, buy a burger shop, you buy 4 of them, and you cost $1,000 per, $400,000 per. It's 1.2 million or 1.6 million. Mm-hmm. How did you originally grow your brand, and how did you, you buy 4 territories? How did you strategically grow those 4 territories simultaneously?
Well, at first we had 2 people involved with the marketing. My former partner, or my partner, which is my former wife, actually, was marketing along with, we hired a sales rep right up front, and we just hit the streets, knocking on doors. And then we narrowed down, we have a pretty detailed marketing plan. So we don't just like go all over the place. We really evaluate the potential referral source and get out there and just market left and right. And we quickly presented an image that HomeWell, even though we were just starting, was very large because we were everywhere. that we needed to be. And it grew fairly substantially. I mean, the first year, this is a relationship business. So the first 4 or 5 months, there's not a whole lot of business. But once you kick in, like now we have way more business than we can even handle at times.
Oh, wow. Still to this day, you still get more and more business.
Yeah, we're up 40% year to year, the last 3 quarters.
Wow. I want to go back to that, but what number were you in the franchise system? Do you remember what number franchisee you were?
Oh, 40s.
You were in the 40s. So you were very early on still in the franchise system.
Yeah.
Over the last kind of decade of you being here, how has the overall system changed or become better? And what is your, if better, or has it gotten worse?
No, magnitude of change. It's for the better, much better. Kind of gone through 3 different cycles with HomeWell. One was the founder, Josh. He's a great guy, very entrepreneurish, not too detail oriented. I'd say, and I know it's changed so much, but the initial training, we were kind of on our own when we went out. But then Josh hired someone to become a president, and she did a very good job organizing the company and growing the company. And now you guys, the group of people that you guys have in your administrative staff is just phenomenal right now. Anything I need, I have. I'm one of the larger franchisees, so generally when you're larger, you don't need as much from the franchisor. But I know you guys are there for all kind of support, and anything I need, ask for, I get.
Yeah, that's awesome. So kind of going back to one of the points you just made earlier, is you have 40% year-over-year growth over the last 3 quarters. And that's in the middle of a really kind of difficult pandemic that we're dealing with right now. You just said you canceled 7 trips in the last calendar year period.
Yeah.
How has COVID affected your business? How has your team been affected? How is your business overall? I mean, it's growing, but how did you pivot during this time?
Yeah, initially, last March, April, we lost a lot of clients, and they were more the companionship type clients that, were doing meal prep, cleaning, those type of things. And they didn't want anybody in their house. However, once the facility started locking down, everybody wanted to go home.
Yeah.
And that's been golden. And, it's been difficult for our staff from time to time, but we've worked through it very easily.
Yeah. How big is your staff currently?
Our administrative staff, I think we have around 15 right now.
Okay. And how many caregivers do you have on staff?
There's 2 answers to that because we have a bench. So we have about 280 on staff and about 160 actively working.
Wow. That's awesome. And I guess a good transition there would be your kind of HR philosophy there. I mean, I know it's a question that kind of comes through a lot, is you're high. I mean, so you started off your business and it was you, your business partner, and your sales manager.
Correct.
And that's kind of how you opened your doors.
Yes.
And you've grown to this staff of 15 people with 280 sales managers. If you look back on how you built your business, would you have done anything differently to start to roll out your business initially? And then talk to me a little bit about how you hire and the type of people you hire and your kind of overall HR philosophy to that process. Because evidently, if you have 280 on staff and people are ready to come work for you any minute, you must do something right there.
Yeah, I don't think I would have done anything differently from the get-go. I mean, we've been successful. The first year was an operating loss, but every other year has been a profit. We're running about 15% net profits now. Every year, 16% last year. So it's been good from that perspective. Hiring is the key. There's a labor shortage. That's the most difficult thing to get around in this business. But we do a pretty good job. Actually, 8% of my revenue last year came from competitors that weren't able to staff shifts, and they knew we could.
Wow.
I mean, that's a big number.
That's huge.
So our whole business philosophy is charge more, pay more. I am the leader in our market in Columbus, Ohio. We're about 20% higher priced than any of my competitors. But what that allows us to do is pay higher, give better benefits, hire the best people. And we've just been successful doing that.
Yeah. Um, so I mean that's a great kind of philosophy. And has that always been your model? Have you always done the charge more, pay more model?
As soon as I got out of workers' comp, yes.
As soon as you got workers' comp. Do you do any Medicaid at all, or are you all private pay?
We're 100% private paid. I won't do Medicaid just because of the reimbursements. Uh, and there's enough business in private pay to go around.
Yeah.
But that's always been my business philosophy. I want to be able to give world-class service. In order to do that, you have to charge more. If I have a client on 24/7 care, they're paying me out of the pocket $22,000 a month. You know, they're not going to go to a competitor that's not going to be able to staff shifts to save $2,000 a month. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So if they have those type of funds, they're going to deal with us.
Right. I mean, you set up, I mean, I guess there is a psychological piece to it as well. Like when you look at it and say, hey, this guy is the premier, he's charging the premier. There's a psychological aspect to it as well. And, you know, it obviously bodes well with your team members because they all stick with you. How is your retention rate typically? Is your staff been with you for a long time?
My administrative staff has, yes. Caregiver turnover is high. It always is. That's why we're hiring every day of the week. But administrative staff, yeah, we've had a lot of long-termers.
Nice. What about your hiring practices? You know, I think one of your state cohort, we did Chris Sampson last month.
Okay.
And she mentioned you, she brought you up as a, you know, someone she works alongside of. And, but, you know, she said something very key. She said part of her hiring philosophy is to hire slow and fire fast. She said,
well, I don't know if that works. I'm in there's a group called, it's Greg Mazza runs it. It's Breakthrough, I forget exactly, Home Care Breakthrough Solutions. And he started a mastermind group this past year. And I'm on that group of 10 of the largest home care companies in the country. And one of the things I learned last year is I need to hire a professional recruiter. And I did. And now we're hiring, I'm a stats person, so I'm going to look here real quick. In the last 3 months, we've hired 45 people. And the problem, some of the listeners may not be able to understand these numbers, but there's a lot of turnover in this industry because the caregivers have to eat. They have to have food. So they're not only applying with HomeWell, they're applying with 10 other companies. Whoever gets them a client is where they're going to go to work. And we're large enough, fortunately, we have new clients coming in the door every day, so we can support some of them, but we need that bench of 100 caregivers out there not working in case I get three or four 24/7s today. I need to get those people to work.
Yeah. Speaking of so I think sometimes when you initially look into this industry, you may think that your client's 24/7. Yeah, that's your major client. What is your mix when you look at your client mix and in terms of hours a week and things of that nature? Are you mostly supported by 24/7 clients? Do you have a mixture, like a big mixture of all those things? Do you have kind of I mean, I know some people who would just want to live and die by the 24/7. Do you have kind of an overall thought process around that?
Yeah, we have a balance. I don't know the exact percentages. We do a lot of live-in care. Live-in's about 30% of what we do. We probably have 30% 24/7s and then 40% less. When we started the business, we did a lot more companionship care, that type of thing, because no one knew who we were and we hadn't broken into the big referral sources yet. But now it's kind of just flip-flop. We do a lot more of the long-term care.
Yeah. Can you give a quick definition of the 24/7 compared to live-in for the people?
Yeah. So a 24/7 is a client that needs us to be awake and alert 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're, maybe they're fall risk or whatever the case may be. A live-in is a client that is maybe just the early stages of whatever their disability is. They sleep through the night. That's the important factor. If they can give my caregiver at least 8 hours of sleep nonstop, uninterrupted, then they qualify for a live-in. And we discount for live-ins. It's probably a 25% reduction in their daily rate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that. Just so I'm sure some people are listening in right now and they're going, wait, those sound like this exact same thing comparatively. So that's good. So, I mean, in your relationship with the franchise system, I think part of something is really unique with the HomeWell franchise system, and I've been in franchising for a lot of years, and I've seen a lot of franchise systems. So, something unique that I find about the system is that there is a high level of communication in the system.
Mhm.
What do you have? Do you have that relationship with the franchise system? Do you have a pretty tight? I mean, you're one of the most successful people. Like, do you have people outside of the who are in the system calling you, asking you for advice, or you calling them, or just having these kind of like you're a part of a mastermind, but do you guys have that group dynamics inside the system with the franchisees?
I'd say a system that's not formal like that, but yes, I had Mike from Detroit on the phone with me this morning. I mean, he calls me 3-4 times a week. Uh, one thing I've liked about what I've seen from HomeWell the last 3 or 4 years is the franchisees that you have brought on. You've been very selective about bringing on people that are going to succeed within the system. And they're usually high-level business people, or they've run a business before or been in a high level at some point. So we bounce a lot of ideas off of each other. I don't generally call out, only to maybe Lou, who's number one. He's my kind of mentor when I started it. And but I probably have 10 different franchisees that I hear from on a monthly basis. And yeah, it's a great system.
Yeah. I mean, in those situations is such great, because I feel like if you're an open franchisee, even though you're, one of the most successful groups in there, and you're not, Lou's only the one above you, you still learn from every conversation you have.
Yes.
So if you're an open person with no ego, and even though that person may be a new person, and you can learn a little bit from something, and I think that helps the system grow overall. So I guess part of what I want to start addressing on this is your current business model. So, I mean, how are you running your business?
How me personally running the business?
Personally, comparative to how you started off by being on the street. And over the last 10 years, how has that changed? And how did you transition that? And so from like kicking off your doors to today, how did you make those changes, and how did you make that transition? And what does your day look like, or week look like currently?
Yeah, so starting the business, it's a difficult business to run year one because it's you, and you're a 24/7 business. I mean, you're getting calls all the time, and you're dealing with those calls. However, as you grow and start adding administrative staff, your life gets much easier. You get schedulers, you have care managers out there. They take care of everything. Today, after 10 years, I'm 63 years old. April 5th, I'm going to start semi-retiring. I'm still going to control the business, but I hired an executive director to come in to take over, and it's just such a profitable venture. So my day-to-day is not bad, actually. I have a great support staff. Do I work weekends? No. Do I take calls at night? No. A 35, 40-hour work week. I travel a lot. It's afforded me a good life.
Yeah. And how quick did it take you before you started bringing on that HR scheduler and stuff like that? Because I know, like, we're now currently probably more likely to have you start off with someone like that on the staff, on your payroll. How long did it take you before you brought someone like that on?
So probably about 3 months after we started, we brought in an admin to help with the hiring process. Then a care manager, maybe 6 months into it. Scheduling, that's the key to this business too, is because you're a matchmaking service. The longevity of the client is getting the right caregiver with that client. So that's very important. First scheduler probably started a year into it. And I was doing all those tasks in the past. My background's finance and accounting and administration. So, I get a lot of discovery calls when I get those. It's, who do you think I should start with? I think you have to look at what your talents are and hire against those talents. And, so I don't know that you need a scheduler day one if you get that talent to do it.
Right on. absolutely. But it's an important role.
Great.
If you don't have the talent, get someone there.
Yeah, I have 3 schedulers right now.
Yeah. I will tell you, there's no doubt that you are a finance and accounting background. I love this conversation because you have a percentage to everything that you've talked about so far. You know your year-over-year growth. You know your percentage of mix. Even though you said you didn't know it, you still knew it. You could tell through and through that that's your background.
Mhm.
I guess I mean, this has been great, and I want to give. I know there's going to be a lot of questions here. There's a lot of people online right now. We have 20 people who are in, so I do want to give some time for people to ask some questions. But there's a couple of things I always like to end with is, understanding now where your growth. But how is your business? How is your business?
It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing very, very well. We're the largest in our market, continue to grow at 40% pace. I mean, that's hard to do when you're doing our revenues. But it's happening. It's golden now. I've looked at, I'm older than most of the other franchisees and probably older than anybody on this call right now. So you're looking at your exit strategy. What are you going to do? Home care, M&A and home care is huge now because of COVID.
Yeah.
The opportunities are out there. The EBITDA turns are getting higher and higher and higher. However, when you're making a 15% net cash flow profit at the end of the year, it doesn't make sense to sell a business. It makes sense to hire someone to run the business and you back away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the stage I'm at right now.
Yeah. It's you put a couple bucks in your pocket on a year basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just in terms of if there's is there anything I think that it's a dumb question to ask. Would you do it again? Because obviously, I guess probably the only question was that.
I said no doubt I would do it again.
Yeah. I guess the only thing you would probably change now is that you probably wouldn't wait until 53. You would have waited. You would start maybe at 23 or 43.
Oh yeah. Oh no doubt about that. Yeah, I wish I would have started early. I guess I didn't know home care existed 10 years ago until I started the process. So
yeah,
outside of being a broker, but I didn't personally know anything about it.
Yeah. Is there anything big in the last 10 years? Like, I mean, this is an interesting model. It's a lot of it is pretty basic, so it's not the most revolutionary model, but have you seen any major changes over the last 10 years that, that you see kind of trending in a positive or negative direction either way, or?
Well, positive has been COVID, and that's going to last for years and years because people are always going to remember the lockdowns in the facilities and wanting to stay home. And that's not going to go away. If COVID goes away in 6 months, that part of it's not for years to come.
Yeah, it's burning our memory.
Yeah, that's been a big positive. Negatives, I don't see many. A little bit of concern about Medicare Advantage starting to reimburse for some home care because you're back to reimbursement rates. Mm-hmm. And I really don't have any interest in that, so I don't know where that's going to go. But outside of that, it's all positive.
Yeah, but I feel like that the Medicaid Advantage thing is years out, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you're probably more dialed in than I am on that, but I feel like the infrastructure needs to be set up for years out on that one. So you'll be sitting at your Jamaica Airbnb with your private chef at that point.
Exactly.
I hope you got a chance to reschedule that vacation, by the way.
Not yet. I was going to again, but you have to have vaccines coming back into the States now, so I'm going to stay domestic right now. All right.
Excellent. Well, listen, Brandon, I know that you always like to chime in here as well, but guys, Ray is maybe one of the best resources we have in the entire system. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's got everything that you need at your fingertips. So please start typing in some of those questions. Brandon, I know you always like to clue in here and jump in. So please feel free, but everybody come in and start asking some questions for Ray so we can really have a great conversation.
All right. Yeah, no. And I want to just say thank you again to Ray, for being here. I mean, this has been fantastic. And yeah, this isn't his first conversation. So I think he answered a lot of the questions preemptively, which is fantastic. But we did have one that came in here from Patrick Bellinger. It says, what type of referral partners are you looking for? And what's your best referral partner as well? So I don't know if you want to kind of run the gamut of, I guess, kind of like where your leads come from and then maybe your top source.
Sure, that changes. It's interesting. I gotta get my spreadsheet out so I can talk to you guys in more detail. But a couple of years, well, it's been probably 4 or 5 years ago now, at one of the HomeWell conventions, they had the three largest franchisees on a panel. And they showed all three of our business models and our referral sources. And it was Josh and I forget his name now, Anchorage, and myself.
Yeah, Josh Frommer up in Alaska. Yep.
Yeah. And Lou. And it was all different. It was amazingly different. And I don't know if it's just because of the different markets or what it is. For us, it's assisted living facilities referring to us as number one. Number two is skilled care companies and hospice companies. And then it goes down. There's a lot of other little ones, but those two together are making 60% of our revenue.
Making 60%, you said? 60?
60% come from those type of referral sources. The internet is getting bigger and bigger as the adult children are more internet friendly, and they're the ones searching for leads. So we do a lot of Google PPC advertising. When I started the business, I was maybe, I don't know, 5% of revenue. Now it's 12%. It just keeps growing.
Wow. Do you have any kind of interesting, unique referral sources that you've worked with in the past that was something like that? You know, maybe starting off with something that was really valuable to you, or a relationship that you started off with that turned out to be, it may not be your biggest revenue driver, but maybe it gave you the footing.
Yeah, we, in our first year, it's an independent / assisted living facility. And my business partner was in there trying to get business one day, and somebody needed help with a resident or a client. So she went in and helped out. The next month, we probably got 20 new clients from that building. I mean, we were all over that building. So, and we have several like that now that we just, you know, everybody comes to us. And
Yeah.
We have multiple aides working in these facilities.
So I know the answer to this already, but I think it'd be good to hear it from you instead of from me, Ray. Another common kind of misconception is, you know, revenue streams. Like a lot of people think like, oh, I'm going to start doing, I don't know, transportation services, or, you know, just like all these different types of revenue streams. Now, and you mentioned like your biggest referral sources was skilled care. And that's another one. People think, oh, I need to not just do, you know, hourly in-home care. I need to also do skilled care. So talk a little bit about your revenue streams, you know, for the business that's your size and the number of clients that you're servicing based off that revenue stream.
Yeah, we're 100% private duty home care. I know some of the people in the system are doing a lot of Medicaid. I think Josh does a ton of Medicaid. It's back to the reimbursement rate. I don't want to get involved doing skilled care. I can do that, but that's back to government reimbursement rates, and I just want to stay private pay. And I have enough to do with that.
Exactly, 100% private pay. And how many clients are you servicing? You know, roughly?
Yeah, about 92 right now, I think.
92 clients. Awesome.
92 clients, and you're 20% above the rest of the market.
Yes, on price.
Yeah.
And here's another one. So what's your competitive landscape look like in Columbus? So like how many other competitors are out there?
I never think about competitors. Okay, so I don't know, Brandon, you would probably know this, but I think there are about 30 states that are
licensed,
licensed, and 20 that are non-licensed.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a non-licensed state. What that does is anybody can open the door, anybody can get into this business tomorrow with no oversight. So in Columbus, we counted over 300 competitors at one time. It sounds like a lot, but I got to tell you, there's only 15 of them that are respectable, and there's only 3 of us that are quite large. So you just don't worry about competition. You just, you know, do the better job. And it's easy to do.
Yeah.
There's enough. There's
300 competitors, you know, and you have 90 clients still, you know, so
there's enough for everybody.
Yeah, you know, when I get a potential franchisee calls me and, you know, it's, I don't want to raise my prices. You know, the competitors are going to get the business. They're always competitors. I don't worry about competitors. I just don't. It doesn't bother me at all. I know I do a better job. I'm friends with most of them. like I said before earlier, a lot of them are giving me business because they know we do a better job and then we can hire people.
Yeah. Here's one from Janice. Do you have any concerns about being able to fully to fulfill hiring needs specifically because of the pandemic?
No, we chose not to work with COVID positive clients. A lot of people do that, I know. It was our choice not to. We do work in facilities. We do a lot of facility staffing, which we haven't really talked about here, but and we've had issues where we've had exposure to COVID and we just pull the aides out and we pay them for 14 days as they quarantine and they test and go back to work. But it hasn't been bad for us at all.
Talk a little bit about your facility staffing.
Yeah, so we kind of fell into this about 4 or 5 years ago, and now it makes up this year is going to be 13% of our business. Is there's a labor shortage in the industry, and it's not just with us; it's with facilities, assisted living facilities. They can't hire people. So we had somebody come to us about 4 or 5 years ago and said, we need you guys. So we staffed their whole facility for about a year. It was like $1 million in revenue. And then we just started getting involved with that. And we do it now. We have probably about 10 facilities that we're doing. I call it floor staffing because we're working with multiple clients. Not all caregivers want to do that because it's harder work, but we pay a premium for them to do that.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's a good revenue source. The negatives behind it is you turn your receivables in 30 days instead of 5. So it's, you got to look at that. But outside of that, it's been great.
That's really cool. That's a great model.
It's a good testament to like how the home care industry has really evolved,
Oh, yeah.
over the last 10 years. And yeah, that's a really interesting model that a lot of our franchisees are taking up, and we coach and train on now from learning from Ray, so like, great. One of the reasons you get into a franchise, right, is that, those shared learnings and, and a lot of our case studies and things we share are given to us from Mr. Ray Black, which is fantastic. Thank you.
Sure.
What other questions do we have out there, guys? Don't be shy. This is your opportunity.
I don't see any others coming in. I mean, I guess we could give them another minute, but I know Ray is good. It's a Friday afternoon. Maybe he has some. He's definitely not going golfing in Columbus, Ohio today. But if this was June, maybe that would be the plan, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, all right, guys. Well, listen, I'm sure throughout this process, a handful of you who are going through this may actually get a chance to speak with Ray again. Ray, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking that and being so diligent with your numbers. I think everybody who's on this call, make sure one major takeaway is know your numbers in your business. That's an important piece. And if you can, you can see success in front of you right there from a person who really knows his numbers and knows how to grow his business. And hopefully that one day this will be your mentor, guys, as you're moving through your experience with HomeWell. But thank you all very much, Ray. I couldn't thank you enough. This was a great conversation. You're a fountain of knowledge. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. Good luck, guys.
Thank you, Ray. Take care.
Thanks. Take care.